Acid attacks are thankfully still a very rare form of violent assault, but they have taken place in the nighttime economy and can pose a very real risk of injury to staff and customers. The motives can be complex and a victim may be targeted for any number of reasons, such as personal conflict, domestic violence, or gang disputes. What seems clear is that the intention is often an attempt to disfigure, maim, or humiliate the victim. So what could you do if you were faced with an acid attack in your bar without putting yourself and others in danger?
A perpetrator of an acid attack will usually throw a corrosive liquid in their victim's face. This can cause significant damage to skin, cartilage and bone, and consequences may be scarring, blindness, and long-term social and psychological difficulties. How you react can have a real impact on the victim's health and recovery.
Oh, you fucking bitch!
Burns caused by acid, alkaline or caustic chemicals can be very damaging and need immediate medical attention. Ensure that any other individuals who are standing nearby keep a safe distance to avoid exposure.
Stay calm, keep breathing. We're going to go outside, just turn around for me. Keep going, stay back, boys.
Call 999 and ask for urgent help from the emergency services.
Yep, a woman's been attacked with acid.
If you think someone has been exposed to a hazardous substance, use caution and keep a safe distance. If possible, use the remove protocol. You should help remove the victim from the immediate area to avoid further exposure to any material in the air. If the victim's skin is itchy or painful, then lots of water is essential for fast treatment and reducing harm. You may have to shout or direct from a safe distance to avoid exposing yourself to the substance. Try to remove contaminated outer clothing which may have contact with the victim's skin and eyes, but be very careful not to touch or spread the chemical, as this could lead to further injury to the victim or person helping them. Use gloves or other protective materials to cover your hands, and if possible, do not pull clothing over the victim's head, as this could increase the risk of the eyes, mouth and nose coming into contact with the hazardous substance. If clothing has stuck to the victim's skin, trying to pull it off risks causing further harm. Removal will be done by a medical professional as soon as it is practical and safe to do so. If the victim's skin is not painful and itchy, then you can remove the substance using a dry absorbent material to soak or brush it off. If the skin is painful and itchy, then rinse the affected area with lots of water. Water should be applied continuously until the ambulance or medical personnel advise you to stop. Try to ensure that the water can run off the affected area without pooling on the skin and potentially spreading the chemical to a wider area. If the victim has a corrosive substance in their eyes, then the responder may have to open the casualty's eyes to help flush with water. Care should be taken to avoid contact with the substance and to avoid the substance running onto other parts of the victim's face or body as far as possible. Stay on the phone until the ambulance arrives and follow any other advice given by the 999 call handler to avoid further injury.
So let's recap on the important facts. If you believe a hazardous substance may have been used, then act. Ensure that you and any other people nearby keep a safe distance to avoid exposure. Make sure that the emergency services have been called. Communicate with the casualties in plain language and reassure them that help is on the way. Action the remove protocol.
Firstly, remove the victim away from the immediate area to avoid further exposure to the substance. If the skin is itchy or painful, find a water source. Secondly, remove outer clothing if affected by the substance. Try to avoid pulling clothing over the head if possible. Do not pull off clothing which is stuck to the skin. And thirdly, remove the substance from the skin. Rinse continually with water if the skin is itchy or painful. An acid attack will mean that the police will treat the venue as a crime scene. You can play your part in preserving evidence by protecting the scene. A specific film on crime scene preservation can be found on the National Pubwatch website's YouTube page at www.nationalpubwatch.org.uk. Further information on the remove protocol, including posters and pocket aid memoirs which are available to download, can be found at www.gov.uk.